to the Vamos Morados podcast on the State of Louisville Podcast Network. I'm Zach.
And I'm Benton. How you doing, buddy?
Doing pretty good. We had a good weekend.
Yeah. We've also been absent.
6 points. 6 points feels good.
We also have to acknowledge we've been absent from the pod for a little bit, so apologize to everybody. Schedule's got a little cray for us.
Yeah, sorry we've been gone. Ben knew he was going to be busy, and so we had planned to have some guests in and have fun, and then I got called in to work for all the storms and had to cancel our recording. So
good times. But hey, I mean, if the teams kept winning while we're out, then
yep,
maybe we should be in Miami
we're
more
back
often.
now. I think everybody's power's back on, so we're ready to roll.
I think I missed text yet, Dad. I'm like, hey man, can you kind of bump me up the pecking order here a little bit? Get that power on a little quicker.
The text I get from everyone who knows my number.
Yeah, probably. That's half the reason why I didn't crack that joke. All right, man. Well, anyway, what have you been up to? What has been capturing your interest outside the soccer realm?
Okay, so this one is soccer adjacent this
That's
week,
fair.
but I had a fun week of photography stuff last week. I finally had a game where I didn't have to watch Chuck, and so I was able to take my camera and go down on the sideline for the whole game and shoot pictures. And unlike the last time I did that, I have all the stuff at home I need to develop pictures on my own now. And so this was the first time I've been able to shoot a bunch of film pictures at the game and then go home and develop them that night and be able to see the pictures the same day, which was really awesome. I think it's the first time I've ever shot a roll of film and developed it same day, period. So I think I got some pretty good shots. I was also experimenting. It was like a new kind of film that I haven't used much. It's Ilford HP5. And I pushed it, which is for people who shoot film, it's when you take a film that's one speed and shoot it at a different speed and then develop it for longer. So it's a 400 ISO film, but I shot it at 1600 and then developed it.
It's just like changing the exposure for the layperson.
It makes it extra grainy and extra contrasty. So the pictures I shot came out like pretty grainy, but I think in a good way. I like the way they look. So
yeah, they did.
And Ben helped me to scan them because I have a scanner now, but I don't have the right holders to scan 35 millimeters. So I had to go over to Benton's to scan it this weekend.
And I can confirm those pictures look good, and that lens did you well.
Yeah,
I'm glad you got to use it.
Yeah, I got to take some shots of players at like midfield, and I could still get a decently sized picture of them from the sidelines. So that was pretty sweet.
That's fun.
What about you, Ben? What have you been into?
Well, I've been in a couple things. One, for those of you watching us on YouTube, you can see that the long hair is finally gone, and I could not be happier. I got really, really worn down by having the hair to deal with. I've never done the long hair before. Got to donate it, so I am done with that saga. Very happy about that.
Rocking the Jason Statham look now.
Yeah, right. I thought it was gonna be shorter. Like I thought like I was basically gonna be bald, but yeah, it's got a little bit of length to it.
Yeah.
So, also kind of into, I did part of the reason I was out is I went to Utah and went to a bunch of the state parks there. So I kind of got reinvigorated a little bit on on kind of the running front, or at least just kind of doing the crazy wild man stuff, climbing, just being out and active like a lot more. Super cool out there. I never thought that Southern Utah would have been as badass as it was, but I had a hell of a time. But I think the real big thing that I am into this week, and I'll just kind of bring up broadly, is just like I just love exploring like various like kind of subcultures. So like, and I say this with the context that I went to both the WWE show that was here in Louisville on Friday. Then that next day, I went to the UFC fights at the Center as well, and just kind of just just seeing these like all these fans, like all the shirts, everybody's kind of in the same. Like it's just like there's these like little kind of cultures that develop there. Obviously, we very much have that within the soccer community as well. It's just kind of really fun exploring those things. It's kind of Like I want to go to like random events. Like I want to go to a NASCAR race. I don't watch NASCAR at all. I want to see what the hell that's about. Like Gathering of the Juggalos. That sounds like it's a blast. I just want to immerse myself in these things. But yeah, I say that because again, I went to the WWE event, which I've been to before, but the UFC thing was new to me, and that was super cool. The people there were pretty much exactly what you would expect, and it was it
Yeah, I was
was
gonna
fucking
ask
awesome.
if you expected most of the fights to be in the ring and not in the crowd.
I saw four fights in the stands, one of which was like almost nearly on top of me, which is a little scary because the guy who just very randomly got aggressive was kind of enormous. But it didn't spill onto me, but like man, it was a lot of fun. One funny thing was is that obviously it was a very male dominated environment there at the UFC fights, and the bathroom line for the men's line was like pretty damn long, and we are not used to that. I kept joking in line, I'm like, oh, it's kind of like this picture we'd see of the bathroom lines at the Taylor Swift concerts, all the girls trying to go. And it got to the point where everybody was just guzzling beer. I drove for my brother and his friends, so I wasn't drinking at all for it. And like as the night went on, like I think a lot of people came intoxicated, which is probably honestly fair. Like that's the right move.
It's a sporting event in Louisville.
But like people were getting aggressive, like cutting line and stuff like that. So I'm sure there were several other unsanctioned fights, but yeah, it was an absolute blast, and I will definitely be going back to another event.
Sounds like maybe not my speed.
It's definitely not for everybody. Like all these trucks are pulling out of the venue, and then this scrawny little dude, me, kind of pulling out with my electric car. Like
Oh,
I was,
there were
I was,
so
I was
many
a fish out
people
of water.
so afraid to drive in the place where they were attending that event. You you have never seen so many scared grown men in your whole life as all of the dudes in trucks that had to drive downtown to get to the MMA fights.
I just thought it was fun. It was funny, but I had so much fun. That was a top quality night. So
Good.
those are the multiple things that I've been to.
Yeah, it's a great weekend all around.
Yeah.
You want to discuss some of the on the field greatness we got to see over the weekend?
Yeah, let's dive into it. I was obviously a little preoccupied with various forms of fighting, staged and unstaged. So, um, but I did get to kind of go back, look at the numbers, watch the recaps. But I'd sure like to hear it from your perspective on how things went.
Yeah. So we'll start off with the Racing Houston game. That one happened first. It was the Friday night game. So 2-0 win for Racing. It was a very, very, very quiet first half from both teams. I I think I joked before it got on that it felt like basically the ball barely got into the box on either side for that whole first half. They just sort of kicked it around at midfield for 45 minutes. But I think um, Racing adjusted well in the second half, made some, I think, really good substitutions. Kanu came on at halftime, and I think that her substitution specifically really changed the look up front, and the attack looked much better for Racing in the second half. They got two goals, came away with the win. I think it was um, a good job, unlike in I think previous games. They got that first goal and um, continued to play the way that they did to get that goal, to get the second one. Um, they didn't tighten up and they didn't try to shift into being too defensive. I thought they figured out what worked in that second half and then continued to play that way,
Mhm.
which was good to see. Uh, but yeah, solid win. That's the second in a row for them after after the long streak to start the season. It's nice to see them put down two in a row. So they're sitting basically, I think they're in seventh place right now. So like working their way up the table with the wins. I'm feeling good. I feel very good about the second part of the or second half of the season
Yeah,
with the
what
way they appear to be rounding into form.
what the match like lacked in flashiness, I'm not too concerned about because they got the job done, right? They beat a team that A, they should have beat by by virtue of the table standings, and B, compared to last time we played them, like we definitely felt like we should have won that one. So getting that one's huge. And I think what's even bigger from my perspective is stringing together these positive results. This is following, like you said, the win against Chicago and then the draw against Kansas City, which given Kansas City's position, like
Draw away was
I'll
a really
consider
good
that
result.
a positive. And I think what this team has needed the absolute most has been some sort of run of form, some momentum to really kind of get behind. And so I'm super excited about it. And then, they have a great opportunity to keep things going again this upcoming weekend, Saturday against Gotham at home. And again,
Yep.
another team that
Huge
we
game, I think.
probably should have beat. So, I mean, this could be, this could be 3 wins in a row for them. If they're the team that, I think that they are. Again,
Well,
they
and
had them beat last time.
this should give them a little bit of what they've really been lacking this season, which is confidence. Like that
Hmm.
all season, we've seen what the team can do. They've come out really strong in games, but we've seen them sort of like lose their confidence, maybe have some shaky moments in the second half, give up some leads. And so getting two in a row, I think, is a big confidence boost. And I think they have the skill to really take advantage of having the confidence.
Yeah. Yeah. And look at this here too. It looks like they're fifth in goal differential. Like, I mean, I kind of feel like we should be a little higher up the table, kind of based off some of these numbers I'm looking at. I mean, again, a lot
Yeah.
of that I think is the draws that we had previously gotten, but I think this is the part of the story where you start to see their climb, and I hope that that holds true. Because again, man, that was one of the most frustrating of the draws that we had was that last time we played Gotham. That was a team
Yeah.
I came like respecting a lot too, kind of given their talented roster, but
Yeah.
how that one happened.
They still got the roster.
Yeah.
So like this is not a gimme.
Yeah.
Uh
No, yeah, for sure
this
not a
week.
gimme, but
Yeah.
based off of last performance, the fact that they get to play at home, you know, they have reason to be positive now.
Yeah.
I like our chances.
Wanted to shout out Goins got a goal, which was nice. I think her last goal was also against Houston, so it's just a team that she plays well against. Um, I thought it. I thought Demelo had a really good game. She's really, I think, rounding into form and looking a lot more like uh, first half of last season Demelo lately.
Hmm.
Yeah, just a lot of uh, good performances on the team in that game.
Trying to click around FOTMob. I was really trying to see when her like what the last goal was, but the interface isn't great for navigating through for individual players.
Last goal for Goins.
Yeah. Oh, here it
It
is. I
was
see
it
it.
was against Houston. I think it was last season, probably.
Yeah. I can't find it that quickly, but I believe you nonetheless.
Yeah, I had finished up the roll of film I brought and was up in the press booth when that goal was scored, and the commentator mentioned that
Oh, okay,
on the
okay.
broadcast. So
Okay. Well, good for her. I'm glad she's back on the score sheet.
yeah, so yeah, I think a solid win. I mean, Houston's not the best team in the league, but especially compared to early this season when they've had games that they should have won and got draws out of, like
Yeah.
to get 3 points in a game where you should have gotten the 3 points is very important for them.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, like I put a lot of stock in that momentum that they're building. So that's the one thing I've said they've needed all season. So
Yep. And
see
we
how that
will we
hopefully
will find
positively
out. I
impacts them.
mean, I think Gotham is a really solid test because they
Yeah.
have they had a very slow start, but they have bounced back a bit. They have played decent of late.
They've won 4 of their last 5.
Yeah. So I mean, they appear to
Have a
be
draw in the
rounding into
mix.
form. It's not the team that they played earlier this season anymore, I don't think.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of their last opponents. I mean, their last opponents have been somewhere between meh and mediocre,
Yeah.
but still, like what you said, like I think it's going to be a good test, not a walk in the park, no sort of guarantee or anything, but is doable.
Yep. And I think like I think this team has the stuff to get to get a home playoff game. I think they can finish strong this season. So I would like to see this win streak continue and give them some good footing for that. Oh, it'd be so good to get a home playoff game.
Oh, that would be sick.
Yeah,
That
we
would be so
haven't
much fun.
we
I would
haven't gotten to
honestly,
experience
I'm
that
just
for racing since basically the Women's Cup is the closest we've gotten.
I'm not getting ahead of myself. I'm just like it's just make the playoffs is still the bar for me. But
Oh yeah.
I'd like to think they could get a home
But I'm
playoff spot.
selfish. I want playoff games at home.
He's
They're more
greedy.
fun.
Yeah, well, I hope you're right.
Speaking of Women's Cup, we got some Women's Cup news this week.
We did that last team
Yeah, it's no
unveiled.
longer a team to be announced. So the final of the four teams in the tournament is Colo Colo from Chile or Chile. Uh, Apparently the most successful team in the history of the Chilean league. I think they're the only team outside of Brazil to win the Copa Libertadores in like a long time.
Yeah, I can't say I'm
They
familiar with their women's side, but it's like the only Chilean team that I was aware of prior
Yeah.
to. So I like
If
to
you're
think
gonna
the
get a
women's
team from
side
Chile,
probably matches
they're
it.
the
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
So yeah, it's good. I like um that
I
we're
like.
getting like a broad spectrum of teams for it. It's
Yeah, I was
not
gonna like
just European teams coming every year.
exactly. I like it's not the same like repeat offenders or same areas whatnot. There's real intentional diversity about it.
Yeah. Um so I think uh that said, it is a collection of teams that Louisville is sort of in the driver's seat for now. I think they're the only NWSL team in it. I think expectations will be pretty high for them in
Especially with how
this.
they're doing right now. Like
Yeah.
if we were able to win a trophy the previous year that we did, which I'm blanking on the exact year right now. I don't see why we couldn't do it this year.
2021.
That sounds right, but I also didn't want to guess.
Yeah, against Bayern Munich. That was a
Jawohl.
that was that was a very fun game. I'm looking forward to the Women's Cup. The Women's Cup was really, really fun that 2021 year. Just about the only fun thing from that season I
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah, I'm sad I missed that one. I had a wedding, shocker. But it was an awesome wedding, so I don't regret it at all. But it does suck that I happened to miss the final and the trophy lifting and whatnot.
Yeah, you'll have to make it up this time.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, so that's pretty awesome. Also, some league news: DeMello and Pickett were named to the team of the month for May, which is pretty awesome. That's now uh, joining Flint, who was named the month before. So they've now had three players make the team of the month, which is pretty good. That's progress for the team, getting some league wide recognition.
Maybe they'll give the new national team coach a reason they'll take a look at DeMello again.
Yeah,
I'm always going to be salty about it. Was there? It's Emma Hayes. That's it. I blanked on her name. Yeah, Coach Hayes.
it's a big
The
pool. You
slander.
gotta, especially out of you gotta look at a bunch of different players. I
But I
think
got
I
to be
think
biased, damn it. They did not pick our players. Now I'm angry about it. We'll see. I'll get more mad when like the real like roster decisions are called because
I
like
honestly think Flint really deserves a look
oh yeah
as
no she
well.
does too.
Yeah.
She does too. But DeMello's name was on there, so that's why my mind instantly went the being snubbed.
Do you have any other thoughts on racing before we move on to City?
Um no, not the moment. Just excited to see what happens this Saturday.
Yeah. They're in a good spot right now.
I want them to continue that climb and make some positive movement upwards the table. But yeah, it
Well,
kind of
and we should
it's starting to
mention,
make up for all the pain early in the season. We're starting to feel like good. It's starting to balance out. We're getting an equilibrium.
yeah, I guess we should mention they've had this good run of play with some pretty major players out as well.
Mhm.
So, like one thing to look forward to for the next half of the season is like as players get healthy, the 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 depth should grow a bit.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think I think it's a good test coming up this weekend. This should be a good game.
Yep. And on the it's a national broadcast too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, ESPN.
Some
So it's
national
why it's
attention
at.
too.
Oh yeah, I guess yeah. Kickoff is at noon. So it is an early game for people. So make sure you don't forget and miss it.
Oh man, we almost scheduled some climbing at that time. I forgot it was an early one.
And we'll have to climb at like 9 or 10.
Yeah, that's late.
Luckily, the climbing gym's pretty close to the stadium, so we can climb and go straight to the game.
Good. We'll talk that one off a fair.
Make a day out of it.
All right, let's talk some Louisville City because they also secured themselves some points. Not really
Yeah, I don't
shocking at
feel
this.
as good about the points. I think not as quality of a uh, well, well they played well. They did not finish strong.
I mean, you saw the whole thing. I did not. But from what I saw, I mean, a lot of those were real close calls.
Yeah,
Like I feel like the I mean, the XG being kind of a barometer with it being kind of just under three, like man, it felt like they could have had more than three. Some of those
yeah,
were real close.
and they have been pulverizing teams at home,
Yeah.
so it's kind of graded on a curve against. I think
Okay.
there are
Yeah.
22 goals for and 4 goals against at home so
Yeah.
far this season
Okay.
before
Yeah.
that game
If
started.
if you're grading out on a curve, then saying two
Uh,
one against a North
I know
Carolina, I get where you're coming from
Danny
there.
Danny was pretty fired up after the game about not being happy with the way that they closed out that game, but a very very good first like 70 minutes or so, and just
Hmm.
it looked like they lost focus a little bit at the end, which is like when you've had the success they've had, that's the fear is you don't want to get lulled into being complacent because
Yep.
that's when teams come back and surprise you. So just something to note. But overall, I mean, a good game, 2-1 win. I'll take the 3 points. Uh, I thought really great game from McFadden. He has looked good ever since he came over. He's a quality player, but this was the best he's looked in like the team context
Yeah.
that all year. He really like fit in and was a big contributor this game.
Yeah, I feel like it really does take a bit of time to gel, no matter like what your talent level is, and kind of get the maximum from a player. And we're
Yeah.
probably approaching, that point for him. He's probably starting to feel real comfortable, kind of knowing his partnerships where people want to be and win. There's little
Yeah.
like kind of unwritten things you just got to learn by experience, like in terms of playing with another guy.
Yeah. And then also great game from friend of the pod, Vamos Morados' favorite, Sam Gleedle. He checked in very early into the game, the 13th minute sub, which is a little uh, you don't like to see players have to leave the game 13 minutes in, so it's
Well,
a little
I
concerning for Perez, but
I haven't followed up on that one, but but from what I was because I noticed that I happened to check my phone kind of right as the game ended, and I text like 13 out at 13 minutes, and it is I think
from
just a
what I
groin
understand,
strain.
it's like a
That
pretty
sounds
run of the mill muscle strain,
yeah,
nothing crazy.
that's what I got. I
Um,
haven't gotten any sort of follow up on that one yet, but I'm how it was presented to me initially. I'm not very concerned.
yeah, but I'm especially not concerned with how Gleedle played checking in. I mean, he had a great game. He scored the opening goal. Honestly, could have had a brace at the
Yeah,
keeper for North Carolina made an incredible save on like a great through ball. I think Jorge played a through ball to him. He made a great run. Got one on one with the keeper, played it back post beautifully, like slotted away, and the keeper just like barely got a toe on it on a kick save. Uh, uh if not for that, he would have had a brace. So great for him. Another player that seems to be catching his stride and integrating with the team well. I mean, we've seen in years past what he's capable of. So I think neither of us expected him to be riding the bench for the whole
yeah.
season.
Well, I think the beautiful thing about the position that the team is in is that they have such a high bar that Coach Cruz has the liberty to get really nitpick at performance. If somebody's not hitting exactly where he wants them to be, it's next man up. And guess what? Next man up for us. pretty deep bench. You got guys like Sam Gleedle going in there, and then when they get on the pitch, they know that they have to maximize their limited time, and it's just kind of self-perpetuating success that we have going on, and it's a beautiful thing to watch.
We very nearly got a bicycle kick goal.
Oh yeah, we did.
I don't know if you saw, we got
Um,
crossbar on a bicycle kick.
yeah, yeah. Now
Uh,
there were some wonky close ones in that one again. Like just kind of watching it from the highlights, like it was like one-way
yeah.
traffic.
In all honesty, like probably should have been up by more than they were at the end of that. So
Yeah,
it was tighter at the end than it really
yeah,
should
absolutely.
have been. But they are on fire right now, statistically and performance wise. I think you mentioned that the goal differential at home is just completely bonkers right now. But also, I think they most goals in the league by like a pretty large margin too. I think they've scored 36 this season, and the next team is gosh, I'll
They're
have to look up the list, but I think they
37
were
and
like
the battery has 27, so we're solid 10 above them. Our
yeah.
goal differential is even better than that.
Um, I think they lead the
That's
league
just
in
the
expected
East.
goals
Yeah.
as well. Uh,
Oh,
but yeah,
I
just
would expect that. Yeah.
uh, yeah, uh,
Absolutely
they're
disgusting
playing
for
as
them.
good as you can expect play right now, especially at home. They've had trouble on the road.
And which I guess leads us to our next point because this next one will be super interesting because no matter where those damn rowdies are
Big
on the
test.
table, I feel like it's always a challenge. And especially if we have to go to Al Lang, bad memories there. Um, that will be an interesting one to see how they perform. Kind of one of those ones you keep a little bit closer of an eye for. You know, when you play North Carolina, it's like okay, like they're what? They're an eighth. They're a little better than I thought, but still not
Yeah.
great. You know, we kind of expected to win there, but now you're going in fourth place Tampa's house, and you know there's some
And
history
they've
there.
looked humid on the road. I mean, they have been dominant at home, but the road they've sort of looked. I don't want to say pedestrian, but they look much more beatable. Like the losses or the loss and the draw have come on the road. That they um. So I think it's a big test for them to come out and show against like a quality road opponent that they can bring it on the road. They're not just a home team.
Yep, yep. So I'll be keeping a close eye on that one. See what's up with that one. That is Saturday evening at 7:30. Man, we got a full soccer day.
Oh, big day. And no overlap, which I love.
Yeah, that's nice. I feel like a lot of times there has been that overlap, and that's
Don't gotta try
pretty
to
darn annoying, you know?
split my eyeballs and watch two games at the same time.
Yeah, it's hard to do. You know, it's not like another sport where there's kind of like pauses in the action. For the most part, it's go. So you're trying to, yeah,
And I like having the afternoon game for the home game, and then you can come home, chill out a little bit, and then go out and watch the road game for the
yeah,
evening.
yeah. I feel like this will be the first one I've gotten to watch in a while. There's been so many other life events have come up. It's gonna be real satisfying this Saturday. Going to a match and then watching another one on TV. I'm down for it.
Well, and as a photography nerd, I'm happy for a noon game because that means I don't have to deal with the sun setting midway through the
Oh yeah.
game. I have
Oh,
plenty of light for the whole game this time.
the
So
day pictures always turn out so good. I just remember the early season for Louisville City. Like a lot of them were were daytime, and the
yeah,
pictures just turned out fantastic.
especially like if you're shooting on film, you need a lot of light, so it helps to have it to where the whole game finishes in the
Yeah,
daylight. So I'm excited about that one for that reason too.
yeah. All right, Zach. What are we missing? What have we not covered?
Um, I mean, we covered the bicycle kick. I wanted to
Oh,
talk about the possession for Louisville City. It's a trend that we pointed out early on with the way they wanted to play, but I think it's got even more tilted since we brought it up the last time.
I
They
agree.
only had 37% possession in this game.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I mean, their average possession seems to be going down, and they're
I think they are near the bottom of the league in possession, aren't they? If I remember when I looked it up,
probably. I
statistic.
mean, that's how I remember that was like what San Antonio was a couple years
Yeah,
ago.
I think
That's
they got beat by San Antonio and decided to adopt their game plan,
It's
which
working
is
too, and
kind
I
of
feel like
interesting.
our accurate passing percentage is down from what it usually was. Usually they hovered like in the like upper 70s, like low 80s, but
Yeah.
now it's kind of been more in like the lower like
Which
70s sort
makes
of range.
sense. I mean that so they're being more aggressive with their passes. They're
Yeah.
instead of that the reason that possession is down is rather than passing
Oh, yeah.
around and making safe passes, they are playing quick aggressive
Oh
passes.
yeah,
So
no, I agree.
obviously you're going to have more of those picked off.
And I hadn't compared the actual like raw numbers itself, but I would expect that we would have had more in the past. And kind of thinking back through my mental Rolodex, I'm feeling more confident the more that I think back to some of these other matches I remember. But yeah, I mean, whatever works, at the,
Yeah,
when
it's wild to see them
the team
change
isn't
up
graded
that
on
this much
their
and have this much
possession.
success just right off the bat.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's goals scored and goals conceded that actually mean anything, and they're doing all the right things there. They're being
Yeah,
intimidating, and teams can't quite figure them out fully. It's been
yeah,
great.
yeah. It's just
It's been an
mainly it's
awesome
really
ride.
interesting to see them win in such a different way than we're accustomed to.
Yeah, that does make it extra fun as well. We're seeing something new from them, and I feel like this is the culmination of several years of Coach Cruz trying to make this back three sort of work. He finally has the right roster for it,
Yeah.
and it's just fully clicking. So,
Yeah,
what he
it
was
sort of felt
envisioning years back is really, really now here.
like we had a little period. I mean, the team was always successful, but it does feel like the league kind of adapted to the style of play the team had for the first. I mean, especially for that middle couple of season stretch where they won the
Hmm.
titles and like the league kind of caught up and that they were getting diminishing returns on the style that they were playing. And it's very nice to see them change it up and have success right away, not miss a step.
Yep.
Um,
The only constant is change, and when you kind of find these new ways to win, and other teams are having trouble breaking it down or exposing it,
yeah.
keep with it.
Do you know how wide is the field at Tampa? I'm obsessed with the field size on away games now.
I have not
I
found
feel
a
like
good
it's a decent sized field, right? Even though it's
yeah, I don't
at a
think it's
baseball
too
stadium,
small or
it's
anything,
fully
but
converted.
I've not found a good resource to find out what the field sizes are, which is kind
Yeah.
of annoying.
We'll put a call out. If anybody has like a field size list, that would be we would find that very useful.
Yeah, that would be pretty nice.
Uh but yeah, it's one to watch. It is I know Tampa does play in what used to be a baseball field, but
It's long since
it
been
was
converted.
converted a long time ago. So I would expect it
Doesn't
probably a
count.
slightly different dimensions than your usual baseball field,
Yeah,
soccer field. So
yeah,
um, still not the giant pasture they get to play on at home though.
yeah. Not the same there. So we will see. Again, the Tampa ones always seem to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good game regardless.
Any last thoughts for the people, Zach? Anything that we missed? Anything just
It
clawing
was a
away at the
good
back of your
week.
mind?
I'm glad to be back doing the pod. I was very frustrated to have to miss a couple weeks. So glad we got to come back on a good one.
Yeah.
And I am looking forward to hopefully another 6 points to brag about next week.
Yeah, I'm ready to jump back in things. I just feel like I've been so out of sorts the past few weeks, but most of my busy stuff is behind me, so back to the grind.
Yeah. Also so plugs if uh if you've not been checking out the YouTube, we got all the episodes on there now. I think this one, especially for the people watching, was probably very interesting because we both very much changed up our look this week.
Yeah, you didn't even mention it. Now the audio only people are like, oh, what? Zach has a
Yeah, we're
different
not even
look
going to say
too.
it. They won't even know what's different
That
for the
face
audio only.
tattoo,
You got to
though, it
watch
was a
the
great
YouTube to know what I'm
choice.
even talking about.
So yeah, check us out on all the platforms.
Yeah,
But we'll go ahead and wrap things up. We'll come back next week and we'll talk about 6 more points. Right? Right?
that sounds good.
Yeah, sounds good to me. All right, well, you people take care. Thank you so much for tuning in as always. Thanks as always to the state of Louisville. Check out all the other great offerings that they have there as well. Catch y'all next week. Take care. Vamos Morados.
Bye, y'all.